Okay, so I'm checking out a student's work here, and they want to do a skateboard with Martin instead of doing a scooter. So I'm checking this out. Here, I'm just going to hide some stuff. One of the things first I see is this scene. If I take a look in the hypergraph, we got a lot of junk in the scene. Okay, I'm not sure about all this stuff. There's a lot of layers and things like that. So first thing I want to do is I'm just going to clean everything up so we can actually use the scene. And I'm just checking if I go here to File, Optimize Scene Size. Okay, let's get rid of some stuff. And that should start to clean up some things first off. Okay, so that actually cleaned up a lot of things. These layers here, they get the name change because when you import things in, if you go to Import, down here there's a namespace option, and so it says use namespaces. I always choose the third one, and that way you don't get this kind of extra thing on all your names when you import things in. So okay, I've covered that. And what else do we have in here? I'm just gonna clean stuff out of here. I'm not sure about all these lights and what they're doing for you at this point, so I'm just gonna get rid of them. Okay, and there's a curve here. If you're going to use that for rigging, I'd probably go and just use a circle. Yeah, just start using a circle. Now I got to take a look at this group for the skateboard. Actually, there's one other thing that caught my attention. There looks to be two Martins. That's what he's like. So if I go in here, there's some stuff hidden, and let's just grab this and visibility off. Human rig fit skeleton. Okay, I'd have to take a look in the original file and see if this is actually there. I'm just going to grab this and shake it around. It doesn't affect anything, so I'm just going to delete it. I don't think it needs to be there. And also, too, I'll find like there's some planes, some extra cameras, some other parts in here. This is a reference group for the Vespa where he originally started building this, I think. I'd probably get rid of that too. So File, Optimize Scene Size again. Okay, so there's our little name there. I'm just gonna check here the skateboard. So this is not a bad job for someone who's just learning. You got a good shape here for the skateboard. If I hit 1, yeah, for a first time out, that's pretty good. And let's see, Martin rig. This looks like a junk node. But the thing that I'm noticing in here that's definitely got issues is, let's see, these things. I'm just going to go to Display, Show, All, and I think it's going to display these things. I notice there's a bunch of little curves up in here, so doing kind of a unusual way of modeling these using some kind of revolve, it looks like maybe. I just got rid of those. What's this? These are the back wheels. There's a camera here someplace, extra dual cameras that are following along. I'm not sure if that was intentional. Skateboard wheel, tire, wheel, and then these look like junk nodes. I'm just going to check that out. If I zoom out, actually no, there's one more wheel in here, then that's a junk node. And where are we now? Okay, skateboard. There's another camera back here from another scene file. Another wheel, tire, wheel. I'm just middle clicking and dragging. Tire, and that just gets rid of things. And then I can see all these shape nodes here. I'm just going to get rid of those. There's the skateboard deck. Looks like this is some kind of extra group. What's this? There. And there. So there's some kind of group there. And anyway, there I've cleaned up all these things. I'll just grab them all again, and I'm just going to go Control G and group them. So now it's kind of organized. And there, now it's clean. I might check and make sure all these objects, you can see the scale values are all probably a little bit whack. Rotations in them and stuff like that. So if I just grab the group and I go Freeze Transformations, now their transforms have been frozen, and they're going to be easier to deal with in rig. Okay, and let's see, it's been a long time since I rigged a skateboard. Yeah, that was one of my jobs. My first industry jobs is modeling skateboarders and rigging them, and it's been so long. Let's isolate this. And things have changed so much since then. Didn't know anything. Okay, so what do you got? 5-minute mark? Okay, so I've cleaned up a lot of that. I also might just go and do another optimized scene size. That'll get rid of any other junk nodes we have. Still can get rid of these things, control layer and the geo layer. Those, I guess, are for the Skater Boy Martin. So, what do I need? Let's go to the right view. For this, actually also too, I just might put this on the ground. You can see there, if I put it right on the ground, you can sink it in a little bit of crash is not a bad thing. And I'm just gonna hold down D and X and put it there, and I'll freeze that out one more time. Okay, I'm gonna go into rigging, and I'm gonna go to skeleton, get my create joints tool, and I just need one joint. Just need one joint, man. You don't need to smoke the whole pack. I'm gonna go in and grab this joint, and I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. And let's see, let's go to wireframe. And this one, first off, let's go back to this wheel here. This is a little bit out of sync. You can kind of see these aren't lined up perfectly, but that's okay. No one's going to notice that inside thing. Let's just take these two, and I'm going to isolate those. Okay, and I'm just going to hold down V so I can get to that point there. There. And here I might change the radius a little bit so it doesn't overlap so much with my wheel rim, or whatever you want to call it. Okay. And actually, maybe one more thing here. The Martin rig. Where is it? This guy? And so this one's for the geometry, and this one's for the rig. Okay, I can just hide both those. Yeah. Okay. That's better than keep hiding it and showing it up again. These names bug me, though. That thing bugs me. Just because it makes everything too long, and I have to think about it. Okay, so, and the radius here is still a little bit confusing there. So then I'm going to take this, I'm going to make a duplicate, and let's take the duplicate, and I'm going to move it up here. I'm going to find that same spot here for this wheel, and what is it? There's my rim, so it's that one. And if I hold down V, I can find out that they're actually not on the same, they're not exactly the same here. If I just move that down again, I might end up taking the wheels themselves, and actually they both look a little bit off. I might try and line those up, line one up for sure. Actually, let's go back over here. Okay, let's get rid of this stuff on this side. And let's check that out again. Okay, so that's better. Yeah, they were just not in alignment, so yeah, that would be confusing. So if I do this, and I hold down V, and I get it close to that center point, now we can see that this wheel is off. Okay, so let's just center me pivots, and actually it centers right to that point, so let's just move the wheel up, and I'm just going to hold down V and grab it in the y-axis, and there it is. So that should be lined up with the joint. Okay, good. And I'm going to freeze that again. And now if I take this wheel and let's make a duplicate, let's group it, let's go and hold down J while I scale it inside out, freeze the transformations, and I'm just going to take a look here, and that's creating an extra group in here, so I might as well just get that out of here, and I'll just push this up here, take that little group and delete it. Remember, whenever I'm looking at my hypergraph, I'm going into display, shape, hidden underworld nodes. So I got those all on so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so we got that figured out. We got some joints. Actually, I didn't check, well, whatever. So let's go back here to the right view. So we got the joints in place for what we need for making the wheels rotate. Now we've got another thing to think about here. So these joints are for the wheels. If I go in and I select them both, I'm going to make a duplicate. I'm going to pull these up. Actually, if I pull them up, yeah, they should be okay. If I put them, I'm going to put them kind of here-ish. And maybe I'll make them, their radiuses slightly smaller so they're easy to distinguish. I could make them bigger, but then it just starts to get too big. I'm going to take this, I'm going to make a duplicate of it, and I'm going to hold down V. And there's no center line in this, so I'm just going to hold down X then. So it's kind of centered on the board. And now when I start looking at the joints, I can go in and start parenting these things together. I'm going to take this one and that one, and I'll parent them, P. This one, that one, press P. And then these two, parent them to that one. Okay? And remember, I'm doing it really simple. If anyone's looking at this going, well, that's really not a very good skateboard. Well, it's this. I'm trying to keep this really simple. This is part of an intro course. And I'm trying to keep a really simple rig for this. Okay? Actually, now that I look at these, I like them smaller. I'm just going to take the radius and make them smaller. Okay. So, what I'm going to want is, let's see, when... Actually, I want one more joint. I'm just going to take this thing and I'm going to make a duplicate, and I'm going to pull that up. Here, I'll pull it up here for a second. I'll just take the children and delete them. You can do that? That's legal? You can totally do that. I'll take this joint and I'm going to parent it here. Okay, so this one, see, this one here is for the whole unit. And I'll just, if I hold down D, I can move it down a little bit so you can see it. This one here is actually for the board itself. Okay, so what time we got? 12-minute mark. Now, my plan was if I take these two pieces here and I bind them, skin, bind skin, select a joint, apply. Great. Now you see that when I take this joint and I rotate it, whoop, we can rotate the board. Okay. You would never do that, but yeah, it's going to go side to side. Great. Okay. The next thing is, whenever I turn this wheel, this joint here, I want these wheels to go around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this wheel here, and I'm just going to go in here. Let's hit 5 so you can see what I'm looking at. Double click, grab that edge loop, and I'm going to go here to modify, and I'm going to go convert polygon edges to curve. Just going to center the pivot, and kill the history so I can move it over so you can see it. And I've got to measure this curve. And if I go here to mel scripting, arc len space dash ch, enter, oops, I forgot, ch space 1, enter, and I go into the attribute editor, I will find there's a curve info node, and it's got this piece of information here. Just going to copy that. Okay. And so, actually, I'm just thinking about how I'm doing this. I'm doing this a little bit different. But anyway, I got that little piece of information I want from this. There's no history on it. Great. Okay. So, if I grab this bunch of geometry here, and this bunch of geometry here, and I grab this joint, come on. I go to skin, bind skin. So now whenever I grab this thing and I rotate it, it moves around. Great. Actually, just something I noticed here. This thing, when I flipped it around, it didn't move the freaking normals. God damn it. Let's just grab this stuff one more time, and I'm just going to go in and delete the history, and I'm going to go to modeling, and I go into mesh display, and I hit reverse, and everything's good again. That's strange. Let's grab these two pieces again, and I'll go back here to rigging, and I'll go into skin, bind skin. Great. Okay, so whenever I rotate that around, they move. And actually, I just realized something else. This thing here wasn't centered. God damn it. Let's see if I move this way. Let's see if I hit center pivot, and then I go and I hold down X there, and then I'm just going to grab this piece here. I'm just going to grab the faces, and I'll just scale them so they fit. Okay, great. And I'm going to freeze the transformations. Let's see, so I got this piece, and I'm going to grab this joint, and I'm going to go skin, bind skin, boop. Great. So what this is going to let me do is this joint gives me a little bit of this kind of ability here, so I can rotate it in the y-axis a little bit. And if I think about this, whenever I move this would be really cool if that moved too. We're just going to fix the back end of this, and I get a funny feeling that the wheels are not going to be right here, so I'm just going to get rid of that, and we'll take this, and I'll make a duplicate, and I'm going to group it. I'm going to hold down J, boop, 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 there. I'll go and I'll freeze the transformations. They went black again. Why did that happen? So if I go here to modify, freeze transformations, was I horsing around with some settings? I was. Edit, reset settings, the preserve normal setting. There. Okay. So that's cool now, and we can just go and hit edit, ungroup if I want to. No, they're ungrouped and they're back in here. And let's take this piece. I'm going to hit center me pivots, and let's grab the move tool. I'm going to hold down X, so it's there. And then if I just grab these faces, if I grab the whole thing and scale it, the screws are going to look kind of funny underneath, so I'm trying not to do that. There. Take this thing and I'll just freeze it, and that should be good. I'm actually wondering if it's black. Is it because the normals are inverted, or is it intended that way? Modeling, mesh display, reverse. Was I right? Nope, it's black. Okay. And I'm just going to take this piece and I'm going to go in, grab the joint, and go back over here to rigging, and I'll go to skin, bind skin, boom. Let's see. If I'm rotating this, it might be really cool to see these axles go in and rotate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this one and that one at the same time. It's going to be their y-axis. Rotate Y, and I'm going to highlight it. I can go to Edit, and I can go into Set Driven Key. Okay, so when I'm in Set Driven Key, it's on the Rotate Y-axis. I'm going to take this joint here. I'm going to call that my driver. By the way, I didn't name all these things. I probably should have named them like deck joint and front truck. I can't remember all these freaking names for these things. If I go in and grab this joint, this is going to be my deck joint, and whenever I rotate it on its Z, these things I want them to move. So I'm going to go ahead and key them here. I'll take this joint and I'll rotate a little bit like this. Let's give it something nice and predictable. Okay, so let's say -10. Okay, that's too far, but we'll never use that. Okay, great. And then I'm going to go and grab these two joints, and let's see, when I grab, actually let's grab this one first. I'm going to rotate this. I'm just going to try and find something that I'll probably never use. 15 degrees, perfect. This one here, 15 degrees, done. I didn't bind those things back here. I'll do that in a moment. I'm going to hit key. Then I'll take this joint and let's go +10. So I'll just type in the value of 10 so it rotates the other way. And then I can grab these, and if I hold down J, dook, there, and I'll go in key. And take this one, got those all highlighted, great, 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 and rotate it that way, and key. Okay, so now when I check this out, whoop, whoop, and the back wheels don't work, so here I'm just going to zero that out. If I go over here and I grab this piece of mesh and this one, I grab that joint and I go to skin, bind skin, boom. And so now you'll see that whenever I grab this thing and I do this, I can kind of get this kind of behavior on the skateboard. Great. And I might put that onto a set-driven key or some kind of controller for the skateboard. If I go in here to create, NURBS, circle, and I'll just kill the history, freeze the transformations, call that God control, whatever you want to do, master control. And I can do some of the other things I did in class where I go and I make this rotate forward as I'm pulling here. If I go and I take this, I can go to edit, add an attribute, and I can call this like roll, right? and I can figure out that, let's see if I hit add. We've already got this. Oh no, we don't. Okay. I can figure out that as I pull this forward, I'd like that wheel to roll. If I pulled it forward, so let's see, let's make a set-driven key, edit. Oh, I don't have anything highlighted. Let's grab this joint and that joint, and there, rotate X, edit, set-driven key. Grab this, and I'm going to load this as a driver, roll. Okay. And if I go ahead and I key it right here, great. Then I take the God control and I go over to, hold on a second, roll. Now I think I had something else in my brain here. It's the translate Z is going to rotate these things. I didn't actually need the roll. You know what I might just do? Just for simplicity's sake, let's skip this one. Just hold on a second, I'm not thinking, I'm just undoing what I just did. Let's actually take it and we'll make it so that the roll attribute just controls the rotation of both these joints. So let's do that. If I go to Windows, General Editors, and I go into the connection editor, you'll see that on the God control, if I go down to the very bottom, roll is there because that's a custom attribute. And I'm just going to grab this joint and I'm going to load that onto the right side. And I want its x-axis to rotate. And if I look around here, I'll see the rotate kind of in the middle-ish right here. And there's rotate x. Boom. Take this one, and I do the same thing. Reload the right side, find rotate, rotate x, and then we're done. So, actually I was thinking about this, and if I wanted to, I could do a set-driven key and do all that extra work, but I think it might be easier if I don't show you too much stuff at this stage of the game. Now if I want to, I can roll the joints forward and backwards here. If I really thought about it, as I pull this thing forward, so if I did something like on frame 1, if I went in here, translate Z, and I right click, key selected, and then I go to say frame, I don't know what, 30, actually let's go all the way up. Nope, let's go all the way up here, 48. And I take this and plunk in that value I measured previously, 29.952. So I pulled it forward that much, and I key it, key selected, and I forgot on frame 1 to go in and take this joint here and parent constrain it. Boop. There. So now whenever this moves, it moves the whole rig. Great. And as I'm pulling that forward, that amount, I could go in here and I could key the roll, key selected, and if I go to frame 48, if I type in 360 degrees and I key selected, you'll see that as I pull this forward, the wheels roll almost exactly here. I'll put on a wireframe on shaded so you can see that I'm not lying. Okay. So something like that, and I could just, if I needed to, I could change the values of this a little bit, but that should work. If I want the Merton here to be on top of this, what are we at? 23-minute mark. Okay. If I take this thing, that's the whole thing that moves Merton around. Whoop, I'll just take that, and I'm just gonna do something really sloppy, and I'll parent it. Actually, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't parent it. What I should do is grab this, grab that, and I'll just put a parent constraint there, so I keep them separate still. And now if I checked out the animation, slides forward, and there we go. This looks kind of strangely creepy. And if I decided to, if I wanted to, I could probably rock this thing here. Maybe I went and I put on the God control, what if I went and I put in something called add attribute. I'm trying to think of the word I'm supposed to use for this. I'm just going to call it rock. Okay. Boop. And if I went back in here to Window, General Editors, Connection Editor, and I find rock, and then I grab this joint here, bloop, and I put it in, and I look, this is probably going to be, I'm looking at the center here, I'll just turn off this selection there, that blue one, that means it's rotate Z, and there it's hooked up. And so as I'm doing this, this thing here, we can take the rock and I'll key it, and then I'll maybe go to say frame 15, and then if I rock it a little bit, oh, you know what? I didn't actually go in and put the feet on this thing. And then I'd have to do some more work to that. I don't know if I want to do all that. I was thinking that would be funny, but then I'd have to constrain the feet to the skateboard. I'm not thinking far enough down the pipe. Yeah, I'll keep that out of this for now. But that ability is there if you wanted to. What I could do, actually, let's see if I can do it really quick. I just grab the feet, and if you're not going to do any skateboarding on this, that's cool. I think that's far beyond the scope of what I want to do. Just take this, and I'll just throw a quick parent constraint. Take this, and do another quick parent constraint. And now you'll see that as I zoom out, and I grab this, do the rock, the feet will move here, and then you could do some counter animation up top. Say at frame 15, key selected, and then I don't know what. This, then I have to move it around more. Key selected, and down here, key selected. Now I want to move this around independently. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna go there. But what if I went and I started animating this? So I could animate this thing. Oh, I hate that. I really hate that. I don't know what freaking Autodesk did. They made it too easy to grab the Z. Yeah, I could animate this going side to side, and then it kind of seems natural. Okay, and okay, that's the wrong way. But anyway, I'm going to stop this here.